Here we go. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Megan.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So today, guys, we are talking to Erin from Erin's Inside Job. She has been a friend of mine for several years now. She's expecting her first baby. Well, technically, you already have your first baby, and it's called
Oh,
Donut.
yeah. She's a fur baby.
Fur baby. How long have you had Donut?
A year and a half. She just turned 2, so
Aww.
she's a toddler now.
And she's going to be a big sister.
Yeah.
So today I thought it would be great to bring you on and have some of my membership ladies get to know you a little bit better, because I've been following you for a really long time and we've been friends, and I think you have some really great tips. So if you want to start off with just like introducing yourself, like who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your story.
Yeah. So my name is Erin Bahadur, and I run Erin's Inside Job, which is a health and wellness site. I started it after I got into recovery for addiction for drugs and alcohol. And a little bit about that, I'll keep it brief. I was in pharmacy school. I was on my way to being a pharmacist, and I got caught stealing drugs from the pharmacy where I was working. And so I was arrested, and I was fired, and I was kicked out of pharmacy school. And then I ended up having to go to jail for 9 months, which was awesome. And then got out and basically had to restructure my whole life, because that was the only job I'd ever had, and try to find work and try to rebuild everything. And I had always been really interested in exercise and fitness and things like that. So I decided that I wanted to be a personal trainer. Right before that, I kind of have struggled with some disordered eating and exercise things, because I removed the drugs and the alcohol, and I was working on recovery, but not as hard as I could have been. And I kind of used those things as a way to control what was going on in my life and the feelings that I was feeling around it. Yeah. So I realized that was an issue. I got help for that. And then decided that I wanted to pursue exercise and things in a healthier way, and hopefully help other people do that as well. And so I figured I could take all of this negative experience and turn it into something that was more positive. So started my blog, started training clients, and now here we are.
I think your story is such a great one, because it came from such a negative place. And a lot of times when people are trying to make changes, they're in a very negative place. Sometimes they don't even realize it, though. And it takes really being in a dark and deep place before somebody is willing to make that change.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as when I was in my addiction. It's you have to kind of hit bottom before you really want to change. Otherwise you can't. If you're not ready and you're not willing to do it, it's not going to happen. And then you keep trying to force it and force it and force it. It's like one of those square pegs in a round hole. Yeah. Or other way around. But you keep trying to force it, it's not going to work. And then there's just that cycle of making yourself feel awful, and why can't I do this? And finally you just have enough. And you're just I have to make a change. And then that's where I see a lot of people actually make that change, when you've just had enough.
Yeah, when you hit that rock bottom, just decide I'm going to do something about this and make a difference in my life.
Right. Yeah.
So how has your perspective changed as you've worked with clients and doing personal training?
So I've lucked out a lot. I've had a lot of clients who I meet with them, and I talk to them about their goals and what they're looking for. And I've only had very few who seem to have really outrageous or unrealistic goals. I had one girl show me her phone, a picture of Instagram, and she's I want my butt to look like this. And I was like, okay, I get it, but it's they're the genetics and the body structure and build were totally different. And I didn't want to be well, it's never going to look like that, because physically I don't think you can look like that. And so which I know from my own experience, it's oh, I want to look like these supermodels that are 6 feet tall, and we just don't have the same bone structure, and it's just not ever going to work like that. So most of the clients that I have been really reasonable and healthy about things, and they've been like, I just want to get healthier, I just want to like tone up, or I just want to kind of lose a little bit of weight, but it hasn't been anything that's like really out of control. And so I think I just kind of lucked out with that. And I always make sure to like check in with them and talk to them as we're doing things, if they have questions, stuff like that, to just kind of like get everyone's expectations like down to normal.
Yeah, so it's not super extreme. Yeah, I find the same thing. People like, they want to lose weight or they want to make a change and they expect it to be like instantaneous.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah, definitely that happens. It's like one of the very first clients I had, she was like, okay, well, how long is it going to be until I lose 50 pounds? And I'm like, it depends, like, because I don't do any of the food stuff because I do the exercise and everything. So it's like, that depends on so many things. It depends, you know, on your metabolism and how much you work out when you're not with me and what you eat, which is huge.
Yeah.
And so they would get frustrated. It would be like 2 weeks and they'd be like, what is this? It's like, it's taken you your whole life to like get where you are. It's going to take some time to like change that.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. It takes so long for those things to like build up, and
yeah,
you know, it's not going to happen in like two weeks or 6 months even for some people.
Right.
It's going to be like a whole year journey, if not more.
Yeah. And I think that we're so used to like very quick fixes and medications and pills and whatever. So it's like, it's a harder like mentality to understand. And that can be kind of like disappointing or kind of depressing to people to think that like, oh, I have to like keep doing this like forever, which is why you really need to think about it as like a lifestyle change and not just like a diet quick thing.
Yeah. So what are some of the tips you give your clients like for staying consistent and keeping themselves motivated and on track when they're not seeing some of those changes?
Yeah, I think so a lot of people get fixated on the scale and like numbers on the scale, and I like to tell people that, you know, the body loses weight in all kinds of different ways, and the best way to really assess it is like, how do I look and how do I feel? Like, how do my clothes fit? Because as you start gaining more muscle, like that weighs more than fat. So like your weight could stay the same, and they like don't understand why it's not going down because we're so like conditioned to just look at a number and be like, this is what I need to be. So I think it helps that they also pay me money. So keeping them accountable is like, oh yes, well, you have to keep paying me money so you'll show up and actually like work out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think that it's just continuing to like talk to them, and like I talk to them about my own fitness stuff and like how long it's taken me to get to like a certain point, like a certain weight or certain kind of movement that I've been trying to do. And it's like just kind of reshaping that thought that everything needs to be like really quick and that it's just going to take time.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about how you had some struggles with like obsessing over your diet and your food, right?
I did. Yes.
And how did you sort of get out of that mentality?
So thankfully I was like in recovery for like addiction stuff. And so I was really like hyper aware of like thoughts and feelings and why I was doing things. I was always in like this introspective state. And so like I knew that something was wrong. It's like I would exercise like all the time. I would keep track of all my workouts, and like I was running a lot, so I would keep track of my time and my distance, and like always have my Garmin watch on, and like if I ran this amount, I would have to beat it next time. And I was like, this seems a little obsessive, but it like wasn't really causing me any like negative consequences yet. So I was like, I'm just going to keep doing it. And so then along with that came the food, because then I'm like, well, I can, you know, I'm exercising and I want to look like this. And so I need to eat like this. And that became very restrictive. And like, I can't eat any sugar, and I can't eat anything that I think is bad for me. I can only have some blueberries during the day. And like in my mind, I know I'm like, I don't think this is right. I'm like researching menus when I'm going to go out to eat, like while I'm at work. Cause I'm like, can I eat anything here? Like what's happening? And it wasn't until, but I wasn't ready to like change anything yet. I'm like, something's wrong, but I'm still functioning. So let's just keep doing it. And one day I ran like 12 miles back to back, and I woke up the next day and tried to like step out of my bed. And I had this injury in my shin that was like kind of weird. It would go away when I ran. So I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just run on it some more. So then I tried to get out of bed and I could barely put any weight on it. So I ended up having a stress fracture in my leg. So I couldn't run. And I was like, that's one of those like rock bottom things. I'm like, okay, this isn't like normal. So I reached out to like some people that I already knew in recovery and like talked to my boyfriend, now husband, about it, and just talking about things and letting people know where I was helped me like realize that it was something that needed to be addressed and be able to ask for help, because the more that I like hid it inside, it was easy to like just keep feeding that. So just getting it out already made me feel so much better and be like, oh yeah, this is a little weird what I'm doing. I should probably fix this. So after that point, I was like, okay, I mean, I was really just doing it to avoid all the like emotional stuff that I didn't know what to do with. And so then after that, I was like, okay, fine, let me like work on becoming a better human.
I love what you said about working on the emotional side, because one of the things I do a lot with my clients when I work with them is I have them fill out this chart, and it's like an emotional chart and what things in their lives are like filled up and what things are missing.
Yeah.
And so they can clearly see like what emotional buckets in their life are they missing, because a lot of times your relationship with food directly reflects that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Something that you're missing.
Yeah. For me, it was about like control, or yes, it was about like filling up something. Like I felt kind of out of control because my life, like trying to rebuild my life, I was like, what did I do to myself and where have I put myself? And like, I didn't know what to do with those feelings. And so it was like, well, let me control this thing I know that I can control, and that will like help me feel better. And that's kind of where that all came from. Or like just food would like just make me feel better, you know? I would be like, this is delicious, and I'm just gonna eat it, and now I feel great. And then I would feel bad because I was like, I shouldn't have eaten that. So it was just like this dumb cycle just over and over again.
So what's your idea of balanced eating today now?
Thankfully, I think I went through enough, like, I've had a weird relationship with food, like, since, you know, like middle school or like high school, just kind of, let's dabble in this eating disorder or this one and be like, no, I don't like that. And then like, there were periods when everything was fine, and it just gets very exhausting. And I think I just reached a point where I was like, what is the point of this? Like, why am I doing this? And so now, like, I really like desserts and sweets. And so I will eat them, because also like the more that you restrict them, the more you're going to want them. And then I just think about them all the time. And, so I've had the periods where I like eat super healthy, and then periods when I don't. And like my body I've understood how to listen to my body and like what it wants to eat. So like I will eat those desserts and things, but if I eat too many of them, like I don't feel good. And my body's actually kind of tells me, it's like, hey, have like something savory, have like a salad, have like a meat or something. I've gotten good at like identifying those different kinds of cues, which I think is just something that's come with time and like trial and error. And so it's not really something that I think about as much anymore. It's like today or yesterday, I didn't have like a lot of groceries in the house, and I ate I always have the same breakfast. I'm also like a creature of habit, a crabbit. And I eat the same things like all the time because I like them. And so like my breakfast is always the same, and I have like scrambled eggs, and then I have like an English muffin, and I have tea, and it's delicious and I love it. But so I like had that, and then after that I was just digging around, and everything that I ate was like sweet. And then I was just like, I can't eat this anymore. So I like had to make like I had like a pasta and like ground beef together, and I was like, oh, this is delicious. So it's just like listening to what's going on and being like, I'm not getting enough of this, so I need to like eat that.
You actually kind of ask things like, what do I need more of?
Yeah, be like, stomach, what do I need?
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people are missing that kind of stop and reflect. Like they just don't, there's an abundance of everywhere, and then you just eat, and then they forget to do that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of like feedback kind of stuff, which I said like I didn't have for a very long time. And so just knowing how I feel when I eat like crap versus knowing how I feel when I eat well, like the more that I eat well, the less I even crave like the crap. So that I think can be the hard part. Like I did a fitness food challenge thing a couple years ago, and it was like not having a lot of the desserts that I usually have. And then just in that initial part, I was like, man, because like sugar is delicious. And it was like, man, I want sugar. Like, why can't I have sugar? And then you just don't have it for a little bit, and then it's fine. Then I found myself like eating healthier and eating more vegetables. And I was like, I don't really like want sugar right now. Like, okay. So I think also when you don't tie it to as much emotional stuff, then it's not really like you're losing things. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what it was a lot of the times too, was like, I need these sweets because I get like this rush and then I feel good. And when you don't tie those two together, then it's easier to just not want it. I would be like, I'm missing out on peanut butter cups. But it's like, why don't you do something else that makes you feel good? Like read a book, or I don't know, drink tea.
Exactly. It's that feeling like trying to fill something up that maybe you're missing some emotional void, but it's just a temporary thing that you're filling up.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you talk a lot about on your blog, like anxiety and mental health. And I know a lot of the women that I work with, they deal with anxiety and like stress a lot and end up eating as a result of that. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Yeah, actually, my husband and I got into a fight yesterday, and I was like, oh God, like we finished and it wasn't quite resolved. And so then again, I felt like out of control, and I was like, where are my cookies? I'm just going to eat cookies, and then it'll be okay and it'll settle me down. And then I was like, no, it's like 9 a.m. You don't need to like eat a whole bunch of cookies. So I've been diagnosed with depression, and not technically with anxiety, but I feel like a lot of times they go like hand in hand. And that's definitely something that it's like you feel overwhelmed, and then you're like, let me just shove something in my mouth and then it'll be okay. And it takes like stop, like pausing for a second and being like, well, am I eating because I'm hungry or because like I'm feeling negatively and this will make me feel better? And also, I forgot the other thing I was going to say. It takes like the pause, and then, and like playing like the whole tape through and like thinking about everything that comes after that. So it's like, okay, yeah, I eat these cookies, and then what happens next? Like, I'm still anxious. I don't feel good. So being able to like see the steps after that, and if it's actually a solution or not, which usually it's not, then that kind of helps like you make the decision.
That's true. I love that. Playing out the steps in your head. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that tip.
Thanks.
So what other tips do you have for, balanced eating? I know some of my members would love to see your Instagram and how you eat donuts all the time. I mean, your dog is even called Donut.
Yeah, I love her. Well, the thing is, like I said, with eating a bunch of sweets, I can't. People are like, oh yeah, you get like a dozen donuts and you eat them all? And I'm like, no, like I can't. I would probably throw up if I ate them all.
I actually love your trick for eating donuts. Do you want to share what you and your husband do when you put it in?
Oh, with the cutting them up?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we'll get like a bunch of different ones to sample them, and then he'll like cut them all up. It helps if you have more than just two people, but then we kind of like all share them, and then it's fine. But like I I don't even think I can eat 2 donuts right now. It's just like sugar overload, and I just can't. But there was a time when I could. Okay, your question was
So how
what?
do you like put those in and balance them out into your day and not feel guilty about it?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's not an everyday thing. And like I said, I eat a lot of the same stuff. And so that if that stuff is healthy, that kind of helps keep that baseline kind of going. I'll eat like a healthy breakfast. I'll usually have like Greek yogurt and blueberries, like a whole bunch of it for like part of a meal, and like just making sure that I get the healthy foods in. And then if I feel like having like something unhealthy, I'll usually eat it. But again, that feeling doesn't come up every day. One thing that I learned somewhere that I thought was helpful was that just instead of trying to like subtract foods, try to add foods that are healthier. So it's like if you're eating a lunch, try to like add, like put greens on the bottom of it. Like if you're having chicken or something, put like spinach on the bottom, and that way you like eat it all. So instead of trying to like take out things, just add in things that are healthier for you. Like add some more vegetables, which I thought was really good. And just don't, just like tomorrow's a new day. Don't beat yourself up. Like just do the best you can, like every day, and don't try to go from like 0 to 100 if you're not used to that. That's going to make it much harder for things to be sustainable. Like do it in increments was another thing that I learned that was really helpful. It's like you don't have to like throw out everything that's bad in your house and replace it with foods that you don't even normally eat. You're going to be like, this is disgusting, and like I hate it. Yeah, so it's like just kind of, maybe if you get like a coffee drink every morning, like a frappuccino, just try to switch to like coffee with maybe cream and sugar, and then like over time maybe like decrease the cream and sugar, or just take it out altogether. But like doing it in steps makes it a lot more manageable than just trying to like completely overhaul your whole life.
Going cold turkey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So those are some great tips. What are some of your tips like for, getting activity in and physical fitness?
I think it's the same thing. I think it's don't go from 0 to 100. So if you're like, don't do like couch to CrossFit, you know what I mean? Like do like, if you're not exercising at all, just try to maybe walk a little bit more, or do like an exercise class like once or twice a week. But you don't have to go from nothing to like 5 days a week and I must exercise all the time. And then like as you get acclimated to it, as you start to feel better, you may want to do it like a little bit more. And so kind of branch out a little bit, maybe try something new. A lot of people who don't like exercise, I find that they haven't like found what they like, because there's so many different ways to like be active and move around. And so just like try a whole bunch of things and see like what you're good at, what brings you joy, like as you exercise.
Yeah, for sure. Because you have to like,
Yeah.
you're not going to keep doing it.
Right. It's the same thing. You're going to like go work out 5 days a week and then be so incredibly sore that you can't move. And then you're going to be like, why am I doing this? I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with food. Like you were saying, you have to take those baby steps. Otherwise it's like too much and your willpower will just like give out on you.
Yeah. You're like, I can't, like, I won't be successful at this. And then it's always easier to give up than it is to keep trying something that's new or different.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some of your last tips? Do you have any other tips about healthy living or exercise or food, or just anything in general that you want to share with my group?
I think just knowing that like you're worth, like that was a big thing for me, because a lot of the things I did also was because I didn't think I was like worth anything. And it's like just knowing that like at any point in your life, like you're a unique individual who always has something like to offer the world, and like you're always worthy of like love and loving yourself, and no matter like what you look like on the outside. That was a huge thing for me. I was like, I must look this way and then people will love me. And it's like that, it sounds so cheesy, but it's like it really comes from like yourself, you know what I mean? And it's like, just, I don't know, just go easy on yourself, because I feel like we, especially as women, are so hard on ourselves all the time. And it's like, just do the best that you can, and then just keep trying to do that, and it'll be good. And then you'll start to feel better, and then you'll want to do more.
Yeah, for sure. Motivation fuels it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to start with that feeling like worthy.
Yeah.
I really love that.
I just want everyone to be happy.
Well, you're always happy. I love watching your Instagram stories and Instagram feed. You always have funny things to say, and your dog is funny.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Your husband's funny.
Yeah, we're all a funny family here.
Your baby will probably be funny.
Thanks, I hope so. Or he's out.
So where can my readers follow you at?
My blog is Erin's Inside Job, and then all my social media is the same thing. So Instagram and Facebook and all of that.
Okay, awesome. So everybody go follow Erin, because they're a lot of fun.
Yay!
All right, bye, Erin. Thanks so much for joining
Bye. Thank you.